It's a bright, clear day, as it nearly always is in Jorvik, and the sun is high in the sky. Your face is flushed from the excitement of the race you've just competed in. You've just won the Baroness's championship, and are still riding the exhilarating high of victory. Wishing everyone a good race and collecting your first place ribbon, you feel, despite the joy, a bit overwhelmed. Throughout all the chaos, you need to get away from everything and clear your mind. So you and your horse set off on a leisurely ride up into the hills behind the racetrack in order to relax and cool down. You slowly make your way up the grassy hillside onto the dirt pathway that also serves as part of the championship's route. But as you go higher and higher, you suddenly notice something you hadn't before. There's a large clump of bushes that don't seem like anything unusual at first sight, but upon closer examination, you can just see a trail on the other side of it. Your horse whinnies nervously, shifting her hooves. You don't want to spook her, but you're itching to know where that mysterious path leads. Your curiosity gets the better of you, and you dismount and make your way through the bushes alone, the sharp brambles scraping against you. Nevertheless, you continue on, despite the gnawing feeling in the pit of your stomach that something is very off here. You emerge from the brambles, brushing loose leaves and thorns from your clothing, and look up to see a large, round, silver object, with faint pink streaks in the ground leading up to it. The ground around it is burned and rocky, barren within a 1-foot radius of the thing, and the object itself is like nothing you've ever seen before. In person, anyways. Only in books and movies have you seen anything like this. It's clearly some kind of alien spaceship, or unidentified flying object. What else could the gleaming, metallic, saucer-shaped object be? It looks broken beyond repair though, with stray wires poking out randomly, faintly sizzling, and scratches in the metal from which glows an odd sort of energy. You are deeply unsettled, getting the feeling that something awful has happened here, something you cannot fully understand, and you're not sure you want to, either. Your throat dry, you snap out of the frozen position you've been in, and your flight instincts kick in. You turn on your heel and bolt, tearing through the thorn-filled brambles, not caring that they claw at your skin and rip your clothes, and quickly mount your waiting horse. Sensing that something ominous is near, the horse turns, and you gallop down the hill, regretting that you ever came here. Jorvik is home to many mysteries. That's what most players of Star Stable Online know all too well. Storylines that were never quite finished, secret locations with mysterious backstories, unreleased areas, and dozens of theories and lore that go far beyond Star Stable Online as we know it today. One of the more underrated old locations in the game is the UFO crash site, which is actually located on a grayed out portion of the map. Sitting high in the mountains across from the Witch Pies swamp in Golden Hills Valley and above the Baroness's racetrack and the Everwind oil fields, it isn't exactly easy to find. The clearing where it sits is hidden behind some bushes just off of the route of the Baroness's championship. At first glance, it wouldn't appear that there was anything out of the ordinary here, but when you go through the bushes and further up the hill, you can see the large, saucer-shaped object looking like something out of a sci-fi movie, and an ominous soundtrack begins to play. It's clearly broken. Red wires hang loose from it, and the skeletal structure of the ship itself has rods of metal poking out. The panels and vents of the ship are loose and falling off too. And stranger still is the teal-colored, glowing light seeping from scratches in the ship's surface. This energy is also present in the abstract dots and lines along the broken edges of the UFO. The most enticing part of the structure is what seems to be a control room of some kind. The walls are covered in glowing teal runes. This room also contains a panel with lots of tiny runes of different shapes. What does all of this mean? We'll have to find out. At first thought, a UFO in a horse game seems unusual, and even seems out of place with the current fantasy and magical elements of the game. But this is, or was, far from the truth. Star Stable is not the first game set in Jorvik. Before Star Stable came Starshine Legacy. It wasn't a multiplayer game, and was split into 4 episodes, each following one of the Soul Riders. Lisa Peterson, Linda Chanda, Anne von Blissen, and Alex Cloudmill, on their battles against the evil Garnock and his followers, the Dark Riders, Sabine, Katya, and Jessica. The goal of the Dark Riders is to free Garnock, who, after landing on Jorvik long ago, was trapped by the first generation of Soul Riders. Garnock wants to take over the world, ridding it of all of the life, magic, and hope the goddess Aideen spread when she brought life to Jorvik. Throughout the game, the Soul Riders discover their powers as they fight through their various encounters with the Dark Riders, with their soul horses, Starshine, Meteor, Concord, and Tin Can by their side. Each girl goes on her own adventure in the battle against evil, and though they manage to hold Garnock at bay, he is still out there once the game ends, scheming for his next attempt to break free. This leaves the story to where Star Stable Online will later pick up. The first episode of Starshine Legacy that mentions the UFO is Linda's, The Secret of Pine Hill Mansion. In her episode, Linda's teacher at Jorvik High School, the strict Mrs. Graham, assigns her an extra research paper, seemingly just because Linda is very academically talented. Linda looks in the school's trophy case for an artifact to write about, and comes across an intriguing item. A moon rock. Strange. This piece of stone was discovered on the shores of Jorvik in the late 40s. It has some strange qualities, more like rocks found after meteor showers. Interesting. It says here that the rock was part of a collection of strange minerals at the Pine Hill Mansion. It was donated to the school when Pine Hill was abandoned. What's this? An article about the famous astronomer Giobertus visiting the headmaster. It seems the headmaster lived at Pine Hill in the 20s, and it seems a lot of things were going on there then. She even notices a photograph of Giobertus and Mr. Sands outside Pine Hill. Also, Linda's horse is literally named Meteor. I know this doesn't sound important, but please bear with me. We learn some more significant information in the next episode of the game, number 3. This is Anne von Blissen's episode. Anne must travel to the mysterious and dangerous Pandoria to save her horse, Concord, who has been imprisoned by Garnock's followers, and comes across some ancient carvings telling the story of Garnock's arrival in Jorvik so long ago. The first one depicted horse people on their planet. Then, on the second one, Garnock attacked the horse people. On the third, the horse people were fighting Garnock and winning. The fourth showed the horse people capturing and trapping Garnock, presumably under the ocean. The fifth showed a starship with Garnock, or the monster, imprisoned on it, with the horse people sending it away. However, in the next carving, something was going wrong, and the starship was crashing on Earth. Garnock's followers had attempted to free him. In the fourth Starshine Legacy episode that's focused on Alex Cloudmill, in Level 1, Mrs. Graham, who is handing out assignments out of nowhere yet again, knows that Alex gets into lots of trouble around school because of all of her energy. So she instructs Alex, "You must go to the library right away and use some of your energy to do research into the mineral deposits here in Jorvik." Alex must write 3 research papers on the minerals found in Jorvik. Alex proceeds to look around the school's library for books on the topic, and actually ends up getting very invested in the assignment. Okay, let's see. Jorvik is famous for its rich mineral deposits. The most common are zinc and copper, and some gold and silver. Wait, it says here something about unknown minerals found by an expedition almost 100 years ago. Hey, cool! Thousands and thousands of years ago, there were lots of mysterious meteor showers over Jorvik, so all the strange minerals probably came from space. That's strange. This text is about Pandorium, a metal only found around Jorvik, and it has some really strange properties. Interesting. That concludes Alex's research, but the introduction of Level 2 reads that Alex is puzzled by the mysterious minerals and the meteor showers she read about. Why did the showers happen just in Jorvik, and not anywhere else? Even though Alex usually hates schoolwork, she's interested in this topic. In Level 3, Alex discovers her Soul Rider powers of the Lightning Circle. The cosmic being Fripp, an ally of the Soul Riders and not a squirrel, says, "I believe it is time for you to know the true natures of your powers, Alex. I am the guardian of an ancient evil, but that evil is about to break free. It all started thousands and thousands of years ago, when my people and I traveled from star system to star system with a terrible cargo. We had imprisoned a creature of pure evil, a monster known as Garnock. Our goal was to travel to the end of the galaxy and imprison him forever as a punishment for all his monstrous crimes. But our mission failed when Garnock's henchmen broke free and tried to take over the starship. We crashed here in Jorvik, and our vessel buried itself deep in the bottom of the ocean. For countless eons, we were all trapped in oblivion. guards and prisoners, until we began to awaken and realize where we were. Garnock is still trapped in the ship with his generals, but they are doing everything they can to release him from his prison. These creatures are not human. They have powers beyond your imagination. The generals use their mental powers to materialize in Jorvik, like Mr. Sands, the girl Jessica, and even your enemy, Katya. But so far, they have been unsuccessful. We were 4 guardians, 4 powerful heroes, each holding one of the locks that held the monster Garnock imprisoned. Over the centuries, the generals have made many attempts to free their master, but we have stopped them. This raises more questions. If Garnock has been trapped inside the ship since the crash, how is the UFO above water? He's clearly not inside the UFO in the mountains. Yeah, I'll address this again later. Next, in level 4 of Alex's episode, Linda is reading information she found in a book aloud to Alex. Since the dawn of time, Jorvik has been affected by something that lies buried deep in the ocean. In the early days of mankind, there were those who saw a starship crash into the sea. They believed it was a sign from the gods, but it was far more sinister and evil. All these legends date back to the Bronze Age. In the following years, it became obvious that whatever lies at the bottom of the sea is not dead, but sleeping. It is trapped under the water, but even so, it has used its mental powers to reach out from the dark depths to change the lives of people on the island of Jorvik. Legends are told of strange creatures being sighted in the past, monstrous beings of evil power. And I found a strange name, Garnock. I don't know what it means, but it sounds awful. Only 4 girls with their faithful horse companions could stand against the creatures and cast them back into the ocean where they came from. The Starshine Legacy game ends with an epilogue that says this: Deep in the fathoms off the coast, Garnock lies, planning again how to break free from his prison. Evil has patience and no scruples, and will launch a strike upon mankind again. Whether it is tomorrow or 100 years from now, no one knows. In the Starshine Legacy comics, there is a section of information about the Star breed, the breed of horse that Starshine, along with eventually the other soul horses, are. There is a legend in Jorvik that these great horses started to appear after the great meteor showers outside of Jorvik, hundreds of years ago. The legend says that this supernatural phenomenon somehow changed the Jorvik wild horses and infused them with magical abilities. Hundreds of years ago, a strange light was seen in the sky. The light grew brighter and brighter until it lit up the entire sky over Jorvik. The people of the small fishing village wondered about the phenomenon. The story of that strange night was passed down from generation to generation as the tale of when God blessed the island of Jorvik. The superstitious said that higher forces had given the island a touch of magic. Today we know that the phenomenon was, in fact, a meteor shower crashing down into the ocean just off the island. The waters are deep where a major number of the meteors landed, and the Dark Core Company is drilling today for the minerals that came with them, but some small fragments fell over the island, and some people still say that those stones have magical powers. Since the day of that meteor shower, however, there has appeared on the island a special breed of horses, the Star breed. This leaves us only wondering what is in store for the Soul Riders next, and, of course, what role the UFO will play. The crashed UFO has existed in Star Stable Online since the very beginning of the game, in the exact same spot, looking the same as it always has. However, that area has been updated since the game came out. The UFO used to be more difficult to find. There wasn't a path that conveniently went right by the UFO, since the Baroness's racetrack hadn't been restored yet. You would have to ride high into the mountains, and there would be a burned trail leading up to it. Otherwise, things are pretty much the same. There's an achievement you can get next to the UFO if you stand in front of it and type /gestures. It's called They Come in Peace, probably referring to the association of aliens. The discovered area's mysterious caption reads, "No human hands could have built this." Or, So let's get further into the UFO's involvement in the game. Since the very beginning of the game, Star Stable has had a winter event in December, celebrating Christmas and the winter holidays with special quests and events across Jorvik, later transferred to the Winter Village in 2017. In the winter event of 2015, there was a Christmas quest called A Very Special Metal, where you had to gather metal from the UFO to build a sled for the shepherd boy, Andy. In the quest, the Silverglade councilman says, Felicity in Firgrove is planning to build a special sled for Andy as a Christmas present. She needs some kind of metal for the runners. There is a legend about a kind of metal here on the island that almost brings life to what it is built into. That would make Andy's sled very special, having magical properties. A known explorer, Nick Stoneground, left instructions with us as to where he found this special metal. Unfortunately, we haven't been lucky enough to find the place. Maybe you'll do a better job at finding it? He went on to give coordinates and said, It points at a place that is almost not accessible west of the racetrack at Everwind Fields. It is very steep and risky to go there with your horse. With your excellent riding skills and control, that should be okay. I guess the best way to get to that spot is northwest of Mr. Kemble's oil drilling equipment on the Everwind Fields. When the player reached Firgrove with the metal, Felicity, the stable manager, said, What a great surprise! You have found the special metal that I really wanted to build the sled's runners with. Andy is going to be so super happy about this present. This quest just proves that the UFO has magical properties, making it all the more intriguing. Where did this magic come from? Unfortunately, it would be a long time until another mention of the UFO arrived in Star Stable Online. In January 2023, Star Stable introduced the Jorvik Gazette questline, where the player would help Amain Highcantle, the editor of the Jorvik Gazette in Jarlaheim, gather stories for the newspaper. The player could choose which articles they wanted to include, and there is an option for a main article about plant life growing around the UFO that seemed strange because of its magical properties. The article reads, Do aliens exist in Jorvik? Maybe not, but 5 new species of plants certainly do. Young horticulturalist Tierra Vaughn has discovered a slew of unknown flora high up in the northern mountain range. Sure, the strange saucer-shaped object by the plants was interesting, but who cares about a hunk of metal when there's new plant life to catalog? Tierra enthused, before going on to break down the intricacies of these new species. The flora was found in the mountain range above the Baroness's racetrack, growing around a mysterious saucer-shaped object. Could they be plants from a prehistoric period? Or maybe they're mutated? Whatever the case, this is breaking news for botanists everywhere. This reminded me of the cracks and scratches in the ship, showing the blue magic glowing from within and leaking out. Maybe this is causing the strange plant life. But the article only makes things more confusing. It's been years, and now Star Stable is finally bringing up the UFO again? Is this reintroducing the UFO as part of the main storyline? Also in 2023, in the background of one of the Game Master's videos teasing the Storm over Devil's Gap main story quest, you can see the crashed UFO sitting in the field up on the hill behind Moorland with the runestones. This also seems to point to the UFO being reintroduced, though we know Star Stable likes to get the players excited for things that may not be introduced for a while, if ever. In another quest in 2023, the Great Meteor Shower from way back in Starshine Legacy was mentioned again, and this time we got lots of direct and important information. During one of the quests with Mario, the player and Mario see a glowing meteorite fall from the sky down to the Everwind Fields through a telescope while stargazing. Mario sends the player down to the fields to pick up the object. The mysterious meteorite is purplish blue in color and emits a pink glow. Upon the player's return, Mario says, "It doesn't look like a regular old meteorite, does it? Such a weird glow. Could it be dangerous? Probably not, right?" Then the player is sent to Nick Stoneground to confirm whether or not the object really is a meteorite. When the player goes back to the observatory with the confirmation, Mario says, "A meteorite? Ah, yes, that's what I thought too." But what did he think about the glow? He had no clue? That's a shame. It does remind me of something that happened in Silverglade a while ago. No, probably unrelated. Either way, I still want to thank you for taking the time to visit him. Not knowing exactly what we've got on our hands might be a bit of a shame, but it also makes this discovery more exciting. It means it's truly something new. So, when Mario said the meteor reminded him of something that happened a while ago in Silverglade, he was likely referring to the great meteor showers over Jorvik, the ones Alex researched way back in Starshine Legacy, which involved the crash when Garnock and Fripp landed long ago, and even the creation of the Starbreed. These are the same showers that the astronomer Geobertus studied. Gabrielle Pinkgirl did an explanation of this theory that I will link in the description. Anyways, Mario continues, "I'll keep a close eye on the skies for anything similar. Maybe if this happens more than once, we will be able to find some sort of pattern. This mysterious pink energy has to have a reason, yes?" Mario ends up giving the player the meteorite along with a stargazing kit that you can put in your saddlebag. You could keep the mysterious object, too. I doubt that staring myself blind on it will give me much clarity, and it does fit in quite well with the kit. Think of it as a little souvenir from our adventure, a gift from me. Mario finishes talking with the player by saying, "I believe the stars over Jorvik still have many secrets they have yet to share with us, or things we don't understand yet. What we saw is just the beginning, I'm sure." I was a little disappointed by the ending of this quest. While promising this is only the beginning is exciting, I didn't want to keep the meteorite. I wanted to study it further and find out more about it, as pretty as it looks in my saddlebag. Also, in one of the reputation quests at the observatory, called Shooting Stars Over the North Mountains, you have to pick up crystals that are the same color as the UFO's scratches. This is interesting, though I can't be sure it means anything important. Something else I found interesting happens every year during the Equestrian Festival, when the Red String Trail ride arrives in Firgrove. The player can ride the trail daily for horse XP, climbing up the mountains to tie a red string at the campsite at the top. Each time you go on the ride, something different happens. Sometimes there are different animals coming across your path, or sometimes you meet an NPC. Other times there is unpredictable weather, and sometimes a UFO flies in and levitates a cow up into it. The UFOs look different, but still, the connection is undeniable. Could this be a reference to the original one? There's even mentions of theories of alien abductions in the Wildwoods quests, with rangers telling legends that Edith Hartwood disappeared this way. And, well, there's nothing left to do but theorize, for now. Naturally, there are lots of theories and loose ends surrounding the crashed UFO. When just enough information is left, it's the perfect storm. Not enough to be certain about anything, but enough to capture your curiosity. This is what the Star Stable community has been left to do on countless occasions. It's about to get even more confusing. I find the location of the crashed UFO interesting. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but the UFO is close to Valedale and the Secret Stone Circle, perhaps adding to its connection with Fripp. It is also near the Everwind oil fields, though there isn't any concrete evidence to back up the idea that this is significant. Also, the UFO crash site is located in a corner of the star that connects the infamous fridge doors, if you agree with the fridge door theory. Eleanor Nightwalker has a great video about it if you want to learn more, which I will link in the description. I noticed that the Pandoric pink and this shade of teal blue that comes from the UFO are two colors that Star Stable seems to love to put together. For example, Solus and Dorca, the magic Pandorian horses. Pandoria is also contrasted with the teal energy of the Vala witches. In a main story quest in Devil's Gap, Civ, the Vala witch, says that the Vala gain their power from Pandoria and Chaos. Pandoria is pink and Chaos seems to be blue then, because there's a lot of this blue magic in Devil's Gap. The description of the Vala Witch mask the player is gifted with even says it has been painted with blue mooncap mushrooms, which could be similar to the ones from the Jorvik Gazette article about plant life. And to connect back to Chaos, Fripp has told us that he comes from a faraway land beyond the concept of time and space, and he does not remember much of his past. What if Fripp is from whatever realm the Chaos energy comes from? The crash could have caused him to lose his memory. The Vala are depicted as neutral in the story quests, so if Garnock along with Fripp is from Chaos, wouldn't it make sense for the Vala to have powers from both Pandoria and Chaos? I also wonder about the specifics of the crash. The Dark Riders could be the ones who caused the crash after hijacking the ship. After all, they aren't human. They would have followed Garnock to Jorvik to free him. And it is strange that the UFO is in relatively good condition after all these years. Maybe the spaceship is still intact because of the strong magic, whether the dark magic of Garnock or the magic of Fripp. Or maybe the UFO is just a reference to Starshine Legacy. Though if that was the case, why would it be so involved in the quests? Since the UFO is covered in runes, of course I had to dedicate an entire section to runology. First of all, there is what looks to be Pandoric writing on the UFO itself, even though it couldn't have come from Pandoria since Fripp says he is not from there. So maybe it's from another alternate dimension. Perhaps the language on the UFO is Fripp's language, which may be similar to Pandorian. There are similarities between the UFO's interior runes and the runestones at the portal to the Secret Stone Circle. The runestone on the hill near Moorland and other ones throughout Jorvik have some runes that look similar as well. Also, the Pandorian keystone is covered in runes that look very close to the ones on the control panel. So, there is certainly more to the crashed UFO than meets the eye. I hope I was able to answer at least some of your questions in this documentary. It was probably the most tedious one yet. I can only hope this is just the beginning for the crashed UFO. So, as life goes on in Jorvik, as riders buy new horses, complete quests, and compete in races, the UFO sits up in the mountains, untouched, waiting for its storyline to finally come full circle. And, as always, we'll be left to speculate until the full truth is revealed.